Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Bitching, friends don't lie. 2. Justice later through peace, or right now through blood. Stranger Things, Carnival. 2 shows today unraveling the similarities and the relationships. What's up, everybody? My name is Mann Emma, and welcome to another episode of TFP. Well, today we are going to be talking about 2 shows, Carnival and Stranger Things. We are not going to broaden the relationship. We are going to broaden the argument, but we are strictly going to limit ourselves to the creatures that have been cast in these TV shows. Well, first and foremost, the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. It's depicted as a predatory humanoid creature from the parallel dimension known as the Abyss. The Abyss is known as the Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Bitching, friends don't lie. 2. Justice later through peace, or right now through blood. Stranger Things, Carnival. 2 shows today unraveling the similarities and the relationships. What's up, everybody? My name is Mann Emma, and welcome to another episode of TFP. Well, today we're going to be talking about 2 shows, Carnival and Stranger Things. We're not going to broaden the relationship. We're going to broaden the argument, but we are strictly going to limit ourselves to the creatures that have been cast in these TV shows. Well, first and foremost, the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. It's depicted as a predatory humanoid creature from the parallel dimension known as the Abyss. The Abyss is known as the upside down, that we later on come to learn that is actually hell. The upside down is hell. So the Demogorgon comes from hell. It's a faceless creature, and it feeds using its faceless face. We are going to relate it to the Dakasha. The Dakasha, on the other hand, are golems of flesh fashioned out of the limbs of the dead. And the Dakasha comes from Carnival. They are tied to their master and cannot die until the master is dead. Well, the Dakasha is usually made out of flesh from either a killed animal, for example, a horse, maybe a cow. Now, when you watch Carnival, you come to realize that there is a class of people called. It's not a class of people. It's a creation. I would term it as a creation named as the Fae. So the Dakasha that we get to see is built out of a killed Fae, one that is of a human body, not one that is of a human face and has a horse body. Yeah, so it's sent to kill. Just like the Demogorgon in Stranger Things, the Dakasha is also sent to kill. The Demogorgon is not usually sent to kill most of the times, though, because we get to know that most of the times it's sent by Vecna, the other supernatural evil being, whereas the Dakasha is sent by a human. As we see in Carnival, it's in season 1, it's sent by Lady Piety to kill many people that knew the birth of Rycroft Philostrate, a son to the Chancellor, a bastard son to the Chancellor, actually, that he produced from Aisling, who was Fae. So, in order to protect her son, Lady Piety wants to kill the existence of Philostrate, to kill Philostrate and anyone who could have known that Philostrate was born and is the firstborn son to the Chancellor, her husband now. And we also come to realize that her son is not actually the son of the Chancellor. So she tries to kill to actually eliminate the existence of Rycroft Philostrate, known as Philo. So she sends the Dakasha to kill these people. It kills violently. It does not think on its own. It cannot die unless the owner dies. Just like we see when Lady Piety is pierced by Fignette, or the Dakasha dies after Lady Piety dies. The Demogorgon, on the other hand, can die still, and Vecna still lives. You don't need to kill Vecna for the Demogorgon to live. However, they are all creatures that are sent, weird creatures. we read about the Demagogon from mythology, but still mythology tells us these are myths anyway. But the Dakasha here, it's purely fictional. There is no even mythology to tell us about the Dakasha. So it was created by human knowledge or human creativity and whatever come. So why am I creating a relationship here is that these creatures are all sent either for a particular mission, but they do not think on their own, they do not act on their own, except when it comes to feeding. We come to realize that the Demagogon can feed on its own, but we don't have a chance of seeing the Dakasha feed. If you're so observant with the Carnivore, I don't know whether Dakasha has been casted in any other series or TV shows. I stand for correction, but when we limit ourselves to Carnivore, it does not, we don't see it eat anywhere. Because we also see Philostrate goes to Alfie the witch and makes a Dakasha, tries to make a Dakasha that lives even without feeding. It stays in one particular position because he does not send it to do anything. He just wanted to prove. So there is a relationship there. The other relationship between these two series was is actually the Sparus and Vecna. Realize that when the Sparus one goes to kill Tourmaline gets to have its eyesight, its vision as it is going to kill. He can actually see that it is going to kill. The same thing happens in Stranger Things. Will Byers, after being kidnapped by the Demagogon that actually took him to Vecna, who was kidnapping the little children, Will connects to Vecna's mind, connects to Vecna's spiritual being. So Will can actually see what Vecna is doing. Will may actually know what Vecna is thinking and whatever he's going to do. So Will actually at times. So Will. We get to know that Will can actually connect to Vecna's mind and see, just like we see Tourmaline connect to the Sparus's mind. However, the distinction here is that the Sparus is physical and it transforms from a human being. Now, before we make food of that distinction, we also come to realize that Vecna can transform into a physical human being, and that's when it transforms into Henry Creel. Actually, Vecna is Henry Creel, right? Is Henry Creel from the start. So he transforms and is Henry Creel and is number one. So he transforms from Henry Creel to Vecna. However, Vecna is not entirely spiritual, but he's spiritual and physical because we see him in physique and also we see him in the children's minds, even in Will's mind. That means he's spiritual. The Sparus is entirely physical. The Sparus comes to kill. It kills through the chest. Oh my god, that's so disgusting. I mean, when you watch the carnivore and look at its chest, it has teeth and mostly they look like canines in the chest. So it kills. It comes to actually kill and feed. Vecna came to conquer the world. He does not kill for feeding. He kills to conquer, to create dominance. That's the distinction between them. They are the same in build-up. I believe they are the same in build-up, but Vecna is a far superior being than the Sparus. Actually, the Sparus can even be sent by humans, and the Vecna is not sent by humans. It's sent by a far bigger creature that is the mind flayer that he was trying to actually build all along. So from those comparisons, what is our message here? I want us now to draw our attention to what could be the writer's intentions. My opinions are my opinions, but I believe that there could be a hidden agenda. Why are we bringing up such creatures? How can a human mind develop such creatures? Whereas the Demagogon and Vecna are part of Greek mythology, they could have been read from books, they could have been developed from books of the Greeks and so what, but the Dakasha and Sparus are actually a creation of the human mind, a creation. Actually, even Vecna and the Demagogon could be a creation of the human mind. So any mind that comes down to think of creating such creatures, should it be a mind that we could interact with, that we would want to keep ourselves in interaction with? Well, fast forward, if you are a Christian, I believe you have a big problem with these TV shows. If you believe in God and your mind is, the whole Christian um, aura around you, there is a battle between you and these two TV shows. Why? Their intentions are far from what pure Christian intentions are, and that's just my opinion. Because why? There is no way we could create such um creatures into existence, creatures that create horror. If you look at Vecna, he's so ugly. It's almost a skeleton, a noseless skeleton, and when they are dealing with it, it's like they are dealing with a human. Look at when they are creating fights, they do not even fear. It's like they are used to dealing with it. Look at the Sparus. Sparus almost also looks like a skeleton with wings. Actually, I don't think it has a tail. Then look at the Dakasha. Look at the Demagogon. I don't think these are things that should be put in your Christian atmosphere. So the best thing to do is do away with them. They are actually great TV shows. I've watched Carnival. I've watched Stranger Things. They are great TV shows. But what are the writers' intentions? Yeah, because why do we have these criticisms? Also to check our writers' intentions. One other thing that keeps me locked on the Christian point of view is that throughout these challenges that people get in these movies, the Sparus is killing people, the Dakasha is killing people, the Demagogon is killing people, Vecna is killing people. There is no way they relate to God. There is no way they call to, as you would call God for help. There is no it's they there isn't even a particular scene where they maybe actually go to church and pray. So it's all about them and all about their solutions. Stranger Things actually goes ahead to talk about hellfire and a praising of hellfire. Why would people come up with a group of hellfire related to God? Many people are going to argue and say this is purely entertainment. Yes, it is purely entertainment. But like I said, from the Christian point of view and Christian perspective, if you are a Christian and you are trying to keep yourself in a sacred place, these are things that you're not supposed to do with your mind. That you're not supposed to make your mind interact with. I've always talked to a certain lady, and she's told me the spiritual world is actually bigger than the actual world. If you watch Stranger Things, you're going to be a witness to this. Things that happen in the abyss, what we've termed as the upside down and what we've termed as hell, are actually bigger than what happens in the real world here. We realize that things happen a lot in the abyss where Vecna stays. And we realize that the Demagogon is also coming from hell, the abyss. Because what is the definition of a Demagogon? It's a predatory humanoid creature from the parallel dimension known as the abyss. What most of us know as the upside down, and is actually hell. Well, that is the writer's intention to me. Parental guidance. Why am I talking about parental guidance? Well, you're supposed to guide your children on what to watch as parents. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he told me, actually he made it clear to me that a show or a program is not rated PG if it has minors acting in it. So you realize the first seasons of Stranger Things are actually done by the minors, but parental guidance shouldn't only be limited to what if the minors have this actually takes me back to the intentions. What if the intentions of the directors, the Duffer brothers, and the writers of Carnival actually want to pick the young minds, just like Vecna decided to pick young minds for his build-up. So what if the influence is to pick on these young minds who are watching these shows? So there's a lot of PG that is needed. There's a lot of parental guidance that is needed when watching these shows. Actually, it should not only be limited to nudity. Well, actually, when you watch the Carnival, you're going to realize that there is parental guidance, because there is nudity, and then there is maybe misuse of language, and then sexual language. But there won't be a PG on. There is no parental guidance on Stranger Things, because one, it has minors acting in it. Two, the language is a bit scaled down, and the nudity and sexual actions are not to the peak as those in Carnival. But my thinking is that we shouldn't limit PG to only sexuality and language. We can expand parental guidance actually to things like creatures, because these are things that children are going to be dreaming about. These are things that can cause hallucinations, and these are things that are going to actually test you and your Christianity together. So for what's worth, I think a PG is needed, and I think the intentions of these writers actually are not Christian. They are entertaining, but they are not Christian. So my message was that if you are to do within Christianity, and these are shows that you can keep away from, the entire rationale of this podcast is actually to throw light on maybe what we could watch if you would want to watch. So that's why I'm saying if you're a Christian, something that you can do away with. Yep, I think that's all we had for you today. But as we close, they are actually here. More of this information actually is written in a text called "Not These Creatures." It's written by Still TFP. So we shall be sharing it on our timelines. We shall be sharing it if you want it to be shared to you. We have shared it on a number of platforms, so people have read through and have related with it. So we put more information in this text called "Not These Creatures," so you could read more and maybe critique and maybe give us your opinions right here on our channel. So until next time, my name is Mann Emma, and we can't wait to see you again. See you next time. Shout outs.